Thanks for tuning in to watch our trades information videos. On each of these videos, we will try to provide the same amount of information. We'll talk about the physical abilities needed to do each job, the type of lifestyle that might be sustainable. Different areas will get different pay, so we're going to try and just focus on, would you be able to have an apartment? Can you have a car loan? You know, those kind of lifestyle kind of things that might be associated with a different paycheck. What certificates or licenses do you need? Do you need an EMT certificate? Do you need a commercial driver's license? Do you need different things? So in each of these videos, we will touch on those different requirements. In all of these videos, every single tradesman has made a point to say that the work ethic that the young person can bring to the career is what will make or break their career and enable their success. So I highly encourage you to watch all of the videos that we have on these topics. See what might fit you best. There is a different career and a different trade for each and every different personality. And if you can find what fits you, it will help you to be successful in life. And that is why we are trying so hard to get all this information out to people just entering the workforce or maybe changing the workforce mid-career. We want you to be successful in life. That's our goal. So enjoy these videos. Make sure to hit subscribe, because as I run across different trades, guys, I will get a different video. And if you subscribe, you will get the notification. Have a great time watching and a great day. Okay, so we're going to put this in with our trade series interviews so kids can learn about different careers. So you are a daycare provider.
I am. I'm a licensed family child care provider from Colorado.
Okay. And so you had to go get licensure from the state?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go down the same list of questions that I've been doing with everybody with my handy dandy hardback here. So what did you have to do to get started?
So initially, I had to take a pre-licensing training class. The training consists of 15 hours and it has core classes in there to explain what you'll be doing. You have to have your medication training, as well as first aid, CPR. And then when you're done with your training, you have to submit FBI and CBI fingerprint background checks to make sure that everything comes back clean and clear. And then after that, it takes a little bit to get your paperwork done, but then licensing comes out to approve your home. And if everything's good, then you get licensed.
Okay. So from start to finish, how long did that process take?
I think I started roughly close to about January, and I got licensed in June.
Oh, okay. Just so within the same year.
Yeah, most of the pre-licensing training is in consecutive weeks. And they usually hold them in Colorado Springs or at an approved facility.
Okay.
And then once I think the biggest thing that took the longest was the CBI and FBI background checks.
Okay, and that's Federal Bureau of Investigation, Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Okay. Yeah, I think they do those for a couple different careers, as well as if you just want to do a name change or anything. And I think it's about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on if you mail it in or do it online.
Yeah, that sounds right. I believe I had to mail mine in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and there's different requirements for so.
Yep.
Okay. And any upfront cost investment to get through that process?
Well, the pre-licensing training does cost. I did mine 14 years ago,
Yeah,
so I don't know what the cost is.
Okay.
But it's a short cost. It's not an extravagant amount.
It's like a Christmas level cost versus a car payment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Definitely. And then the FBI and CBI background checks did cost as well. I couldn't tell you about those either because it was long ago.
Yeah.
I do know that the current fingerprint cost is about $50, so we just did those. So really, the initial cost for all of that is minimal, but you do also have to take in consideration any upgrades and anything you have to do around your home to make it safe and secure for the kids.
Yeah.
Those initial costs are probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I would imagine. So you need to, like cover the plugs, have toys that they can play with.
The railings on your porch can only be a certain amount.
Right.
Your play area, if you have a play area, you have to, it has to have 9 inches of resilient surface, so you have to fix that or obtain it, so.
Okay, so, but within that 6 months, it's a Christmas present, a nice Christmas present level of expense, and some elbow grease.
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay, we could do that. And then, so the next question I've been asking all the other folks, just so we can do apples to apples, is let's talk about salary. When you start out, can you pay back your loan and initial investment? So I'm assuming yes, as you get started.
Yeah, the initial investment for me, since I was already working another job to be able to obtain my license, I was able to, but the cost isn't too much to where you wouldn't be able to pay it back within, if you had to take a loan out for it, within a couple of months.
Oh, okay, that's not bad at all.
It's definitely doable.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so now what everybody wants to know. Let's walk through your typical day. When does your day start? Are you outside, inside? Are you sitting? Are you standing? And I'm sure as people, I'm just asking this so that it's the same questions I'm asking everybody else, but I'm sure people that are watching this are going, you're doing everything. You're crawling under a table.
I was going to say, I'm not sure. I might have to shorten this. So my work week is Monday through Friday. Generally, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. My hours are set. I set them, but I also set them according to what parents would be needing for childcare. So my first kids come about 6 o'clock in the morning. From 6 to about 7:30, we are doing a lot of relaxing because my other family is sleeping. But I'm getting bathrooms taken care of, breakfast taken care of before I take kids to school. I get the kids out of the house approximately like 7:40. And I have 6 little ones that I have to take to school. We pile in the car. I don't know what you want. I have all of the car seats in my vehicle that I use for daycare.
And that's probably another investment that you need
It
to
is.
get. Yeah.
It is. And actually this year I had to reinvest in getting another vehicle. So to accommodate all of my kiddos. So car seats are a major one.
Okay,
No
so you
problem.
had to get car seats.
Yes.
And you have to make sure that they're
Regulated
for the
for
age.
that age of child, yes. So generally I keep like 8 or 9 car seats, depending, because if I have one that maybe ages out of a car seat, then I have another one that they can use.
Okay.
But I also have to keep it regular. I have to keep them compliant with the guidelines for car seats. So like if they expire, I have to get rid of them and get brand new car seats.
Okay.
And I foot the bill for the car seats for my parents because it's my business and
Right.
it's easier.
That makes sense.
So
and that's a level of trust that they know that you're taking that effort to keep your car seats current. You can safely get their kids back and forth. Yeah, that's awesome.
So then I drop 4 kids off at school. Right now, I drop 2 kindergartner off, a first grader off, and 2 preschoolers. And then I come home with an afternoon preschooler that stays with me in the mornings, and then infant. My infant is in between taking naps in the morning, so he may or may not take a nap. But I play with the kids a lot. So we have table toys that we can play with, a bunch of sensory toys, Play-Doh, colorings. My little gal loves to color right now. So we do colorings, pretty much any toy that is in my house. But I usually play with them in the mornings. We do snack about 9:30 to kind of break it up a little bit. In the mornings, if it's nice, we will come outside for the morning.
Nice.
And they have a whole set of soccer balls, volleyballs, footballs, and all of the play equipment to play on. So my AM preschoolers get out about 11:20, so I'll go and pack my other 2 up and go back up to the school and grab the other 2. And then we come home and have lunch. The kids color while I make lunch, so that way I can see them and
They're doing something.
they're doing something productive. They're not
Yeah.
just hanging out. So
Right.
my lunch consists of hot cooked meals usually, and And I do a nutrition program, so I go with their guidelines with the meat, fruit, vegetables, milk, whole grain once a day. Lunchtime's usually pretty good because I have really good eaters right now, so
Good.
I don't usually have a problem with them. We clean up from lunch. They do clean up before and after lunch. We have lots of hand washing going on and all of our hygiene stuff.
So they're learning good habits.
They are. We do pleases, thank yous, all of that stuff. But they clean up after lunch. They have a certain routine. They all put their plates in the sinks. We leave here about 12:20, 12:25 to get one more to preschool.
Oh, the afternoon.
My afternoon girl. So we drop her off. We come back and we have about a half an hour before we have to take naps. So in that time we're playing with toys but cleaning up toys. And then we do bathroom. And then I have their regulated nap mats down, or playpen, whichever they use. And at 1 o'clock we go down for a nap.
Okay.
So then it starts my cleaning part.
Yeah, and then it's your work.
It's my work.
Hustle.
So from 1 o'clock until about 3 to 3:30, I will either get a little laundry started, which consists of the kids' wash rags, because they use wash rags to clean up after lunch. Anything that's been soiled throughout the day, and any regular laundry. So I'll start a load of laundry. I will usually try and clean up the kitchen with the lunch, since I have a little bit of time between lunch and taking another one to school. So I will clean up that, and then any extra toys and stuff in the living room. I usually try and sanitize all of my stuff in between nap, so that way when they get up it's kind of nice and fresh for them.
Nice.
So we have snack about 3:30. And then my afternoon, when they come home from school, they have one as well. But at about 3:40, I pack everybody back up.
Yeah, you're going
back up to
the
the school. And I grab my preschooler, and then we get back in and we wait for the kindergartner and first grader. So we come home from school. I usually try and interact with them about how their day was, because I have my school agers on Mondays, so I get more interaction with them on Mondays. So they usually tell me about their day, and I have pickups between usually 4:30 and 5:30. So it's all random. So the kids can be doing anything by like doing sensory play with like the gears, Lincoln Logs, Play-Doh, and then when their parents come, it's just kind of time to pick up and leave.
Gotcha. Nice. So that's awesome. So you're taking. It sounds like you're doing a lot of effort that I will not. You're doing a lot more of it. I do a little bit, but the sensory play, the STEM type toys.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a lot of those. I'm reinvesting in a lot of those. They love the gears. The gears are a big one for them.
I'm noticing that sewing, the cardboard or the plastic,
I love those.
Where they can take a shoelace
with the
through.
yarn. I do like those. I like those for tying shoes too.
Yes.
They can learn to tie shoes that way.
Yes.
I have just a bunch of, I do those little, I don't even know, they're puff balls, with little grabbers, and they can make things out of them, they can separate them, they can count them. I have the beads with shoelaces, so I do like a lot of the STEM toys rather than a lot of the play toys. They seem a little bit, actually the kids have fun with them more than the regular play toys.
I've noticed that, yeah. I don't have anything against regular toys, but it just seems to me that, if you're building stuff, those little puffies that kind of grip together and the things interact, and they can build a mountain. And
the gears, oh my gosh, they always build amazing stuff with gears. They've built, like, they say they're lawnmowers, but they're like the little, it's kind of cute because they're like tractors and lawnmowers, and it's much better than just your basic toys.
Yeah. So to me, I'm recognizing that you have certain personality skills that really make you successful at this career. And not everybody's going to have those.
No, there's...
So what should a person look into themselves and say, I have these traits, so I might be successful at this?
I think the biggest one is, obviously, you gotta like kids. because I'm around them all the time. I mean, I changed diapers pretty much for the last 14 years.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of patience. You really have to have very good communication skills, and not just with your kids, but also with your parents.
Oh,
because
yes.
your part of your job isn't very long of the day dealing with your parents, but it's a very important part of your job, especially because it's their children. I always tell my parents communication is the biggest thing. If you have a question, you just need to ask me, even if it's something that you're a little hesitant about, because I would rather have a parent ask me than be confused and then it get all weird. So, but patience is a big one. Dealing with toddlers' temper tantrums.
In a constructive way.
Lunch messes. They're a lot of stuff. They're happy moods. They're sad moods. If they're hurt, how to handle it. If they're not feeling well, how to handle it. Stuff like that. So.
And really, you've got to know each personality.
You do.
And how their acting out might mean something totally different than another kid's acting out.
Absolutely. I have, and especially like infants react differently to things than toddlers do. I have one kid that could be super happy because I asked them to go play at the table for a little bit. And I have one kid that can be super mad about it. You also have to know body language. Toddlers always won't tell you when they got to go to the bathroom, so you kind of have to tell them to go to the bathroom. So your patience level plays in a lot of everything that you do. Getting kids into the car to get them up to the school, because they don't pay attention. They like to,
Yeah,
their focus is the leaves on the ground, not getting in the car.
Right. Right.
So I would say definitely patience and communication with everything.
And self-awareness of yourself. If you're tired, you might have to say, okay, I'm going to be a little extra patient today.
Absolutely.
Because I'm tired. Self-awareness for that kid who might need to be given the
Absolutely.
nudge to go to the tired
Absolutely. And I always reiterate to my own kids who kind of help me out sometimes is, hey, he's tired today, maybe you should not do that because you're going to take him off. So yeah, definitely. And a lot of it, like, I try and get good sleep so that way in the morning I'm not cranky or tired or, but a lot of my, from when I close to when I go to bed, all of that stuff kind of stays away while I start my job. Not, when I'm doing my job, my interactions with them isn't focused on anything that's happened previously. So you also have to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point too. So you have a unique position. You are, correct me if I'm wrong, are you the only licensed daycare in Elbert County?
Yes.
And so if there were to be another daycare person that wanted to get started in Elbert County, I'm sure you would be thrilled, because right now you get a lot of phone calls.
I do.
And you have to turn people down.
I do, and I have a waiting list.
Okay.
I usually put them on a waiting list, because I usually have, they ask if I can recommend anybody. The closest person I recommend is actually in El Paso County, and she's in Calhoun.
Okay.
So.
So if somebody wanted to start this business up, they have, a small investment. Depending on what gear they have, they may need to get car seats, large play toys for outside, sensory toys.
Yeah, double checking zoning regulations for their county, I believe it is. I don't think Elbert County has any zoning.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll have to go through all your initial setup costs and stuff.
Okay. So is there a website where people can go and look for the requirements?
Well, on not really per like Elbert County or El Paso County. State stuff, the state of Colorado has license regulations.
Okay.
So they do list those. They are on the Colorado Office of Early Childhood. Hold on, let me see.
Here's where you would go to go get started.
Yeah, a lot of mine, I think I called a place in Colorado Springs because I didn't know where to get licensed.
And you just ask them how you.
Yeah, the company has changed names since when I went with them, because it was Child Care Connections, but now I think they got taken over by like Alliance for Kids.
Okay.
So I think Alliance for Kids does, and I know they have pre-licensing training and stuff like that. So the Colorado Office of Early Childhood has links to information of the requirements that you would need to be able to obtain a license.
Okay.
Like they say on there like your training, your pre-licensing training. So 15 hours of training, 9 of core training. There's a monitored test. It says on here there's a monitored test. I did it so long ago, I'm sure I took one.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure I did with after all the pre-licensing stuff. Actually, you know what? I did. And I think it was in 2 different sections that I did it.
Okay.
So you have to make pre-approved precautions that meet current standards, OSHA requirements. So all of your covering the
Safety
plugs
rails
and absolutely. Documentation of the training, your first aid CPR for all ages, infants to 21 years. Medication administration training, that is state approved. You do have to, I believe, it says, oh, so I had to take so you have to take I don't know what they call it right now. It's we called it the hand washing class, but it's your, like correct hand washing, disposing of biohazard waste, like obviously your diapers, using your gloves, so standard precautions. If somebody were to have a bloody nose, you have to put on your gloves and use your precautions with it as well, even though you're dealing with children.
Right. You also, and these regulations started after I started my licensing, but you have to have training in shaken baby syndrome, preventative. So it's preventative shaken baby and abusive head trauma. And then I have a couple others. I have to take an immunization course. Oh, okay.
I have to take a safe sleep course for infants, because from your ages 1 to 12, you're more vulnerable, and so you have to follow regulations when putting them down for a nap, so that way they're safe in their environment.
And all this is in the training. That's that initial training that you got.
It should be.
You do continuing classes throughout the years.
So some of the classes are required throughout they're required once a year throughout your when you're licensed. They should, I'm assuming, put them with the pre-licensing. They didn't have them when I was doing pre-licensing, so I'm assuming since they were a requirement, they should put them in there.
Okay.
Like so your immunizations are due every year. Your shaken baby and the head use of a trauma, and then your safe sleep course. And I just do those every January, like clockwork.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to start up, they could go to the Colorado Office of Early Childhood, if they're in Colorado. But they should go to their state. Their state will have requirements.
Correct, because each state for a child care provider is going to have different requirements for their providers. That's the biggest thing too. You can't, and if you come from a different state to do it, which is perfectly fine, but you have to follow the Colorado state regulations.
Right. Okay. And then I'm thinking, as we were talking to all these other trades, there's kind of age requirements. So I would say for this, you have to be 18 probably to get all the requirements done. But then do you find that parents are more trusting of you as you're more mature, you have your own kids, or does it matter? Can you be a young person just starting out? Do you need to have some history as a babysitter, or a big sister, or kind of
So, I guess with me initially, I grew up here, so it kind of helps. I babysat from 12 to 18 before I started a regular job. I started doing this when I was 22.
Okay.
So I was young doing it. I actually was fine because I had other people who had word of mouth of who I was and that I had previously watched kids, and it took a little bit to get clientele started. I'm gonna say maybe like 2 or 3 years to have a consistent clientele and group of kids.
Okay. Okay. But you didn't ever have to overcome somebody not wanting to have you watch their kids due to your age.
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
I mean, people leave for different reasons, and they give you
Right.
different reasons, and sometimes it just doesn't suit them, which is fine, because
Right.
not everybody suits everybody.
Right.
So, I do interviews before my kids come to me, so I schedule a time that we can get together and I can meet their kids and I can meet them, and we go through a whole list of what I do here, and what I'm expecting of, I guess you could say expecting of their kids, but it also shows them the nurturing side of what they're getting while coming here. And it lets me know them as well as them know me. So
Right.
on top of me interviewing them, they're interviewing me at the same time.
Right. And that's good. So that you
Absolutely.
each have your expectations and nobody gets
Absolutely.
crossways.
And then when they do start here, I have a 2-week trial period for my kids. So within the 2 weeks, if there's not anything if it's not working, if for some reason the drive is too far or they're anything, then they're allowed to leave within 2 weeks with no repercussions or anything like that. So, and my parents have been very, very good about communication. Like I said, communication's a big thing. So I don't really think I've really had an issue with that.
Okay. And I know prices, and thus your salary change per region. It's just kind of, I guess, the cost of living in the area really kind of dictates that.
It does. I base mine generally off of the area that I live in and the surrounding of the jobs available to everybody. If you went up to Denver, obviously, there's more available, there's more that you can do. So the cost for childcare goes up depending on where you're at. And it also depends on your kid count.
Yeah.
It'll also depend on how many are enrolled.
Yeah. So for people who are starting out to do this, they could do some homework and look around at the daycares, look around at the cost of living, and kind of get their good
Absolutely.
idea that way.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then 18, go through all the training. Make sure and keep up on the training through the yearly ones.
Absolutely. You have to have all of the requirements done every year. When you come out to get licensed, you're issued like a licensed specialist, and they come out yearly and they check all of your area that the kids are allowed in. And if they're not allowed in, have to be locked, and it's for safety reasons. But they will come out yearly to check everything. So they check all of your trainings and make sure you're kept up on.
Good.
You have to have a physical done yearly to make sure that, or I think it's every 2 years, to make sure that you're in good health to be able to watch the kids that you
Right.
have.
So that you can crawl under the table and play
Pick
in the
up everything.
sandbox. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So any final words of wisdom to anybody who's thinking, maybe this is for me?
I think my biggest thing, because I like when a lot of people ask me what I do and how I do it, you really have to be committed to doing it. You're being relied on by potentially 8 different families. So you can't just start up and be like, oh, I'm not going to work today. It has to be, this is a job. I'm a Monday through Friday, 5:30, 6 o'clock to 5:30, consistent. I don't call off work. I have 5 other parents that rely on me right now. For me to get their kids to school, you have to have the patience, but the biggest thing is if you're going to commit to doing it, this has to be your number one priority. It can't be put on the back burner and be like a I mean, don't get me wrong, I have fun days, but it's a job. It's my business.
And you have to be able to have that pleasant demeanor, commitment.
Yep.
And yeah, okay, well, good. All right, I think we have covered everything. Oh, and you told me before we started recording that there are a lot of guys in this field as well. So
There are. I noticed they more pertain to, which actually I would like to see somebody at a family childcare as a male do the job. I think it would be great. There's a lot of guys that are really good with kids.
yeah, my personal opinion, I think there's dads are super, super important. So it follows suit with that train of thought that guys would be a great
Absolutely.
child care provider.
When I did a lot of my trainings and stuff, we got to actually see them working at a child care. And there's young ones, there's middle-aged ones, and they're really good with the kids. So, and there's a lot of kids that bond differently with different people that would actually bond better with a male figure than they would a female figure. So, personality-wise, I think it would be a good fit for a lot of guys.
Okay, yeah. And so, salary-wise, I know we said it differs region to region. Would you say that you are a supportive salary? Like, do you need somebody else to foot the majority of your living expenses, or if this were your business, could you support yourself?
So, we can take that a wider range because,
Okay.
so right now I have a family child care home. My family child care home, I'm only allowed to have a certain amount of kids. Right now, no, I probably wouldn't be able to go out with all of the living costs and stuff, but there are available different licenses.
Okay.
So I could go from a family child care license to a large home license.
Okay.
And anybody with a great learning experience, a great experience with kids can actually gain a lot by doing like a preschool out of their home as a child care.
Oh, okay.
So your earning potential also goes up. You can have with a large family child care license, you do have to have an aide and stuff.
Okay.
But there's also an experienced child care license that gives you more children and more potential for earnings.
Okay.
So you don't have, it'll vary between licenses, but very well if you go up and you strive for a higher license, yeah, you could earn your own very well.
Okay. And you would be able to see those different licenses when you go to the state?
Yes. They show you all of the regulations. There's 5. So there's a family child care home. There's a family child care home with 3 under 2, because I'm only allowed 2 children under 2.
Okay.
Then there's the infant toddler home, and a large family child care home, and experienced provider home.
Okay. Okay. So, and those different licenses?
They'll differ for your regulations for how many kids you can have, if you have any, if you need to have an aide or not. But the experienced child care provider license, which I'm actually going to be applying for.
Okay.
You have the potential for a couple more kids, which gives you more earnings, which gives you obviously more of an income throughout the year to be able to support yourself.
Nice. Okay. Good. I think that covers all of our questions. So
Great.
thank you for taking the
You're
time
welcome. Thanks for interviewing me.
talk with me. Yes. And hopefully we encourage somebody to start a daycare, in home or whatever level they want to do. So, all right.